Guys, we're here with JT. He ran it back again with a different deck this time. It's called Primite Heroes. Tell us a little bit about this.
Okay.
6th place at the regionals, by the way.
6th place, yeah. So I didn't have a lot of time to test. So a lot of this is just theory, but it worked out well enough. So yeah, I'm super excited about it. It was a lot of fun.
How are the Primite cards in this deck? I guess you'll show
Yeah,
us.
I'll explain it when we get to them.
Before we dive in, over to like, comment, subscribe, and for
Shoutouts.
some more. Oh yeah, any shoutouts today?
Yeah, shout outs to my wife and daughter who are at home. Appreciate them. Shout outs to everyone here except Josh because he did not attend. So yeah, that's it.
Fair enough. And it's Mr. Hong's birthday. He's over there.
Yes, it is. Happy birthday.
And let's dive in.
All right. 3 Stratos. So in the last deck profile that we did, I was only playing 2 because it wasn't a starter, but because I'm playing a higher deck count this time, I'm playing 60. I just wanted as much access to engine as possible, and I'm playing multiple polymerization. I'll explain why when I get there. So I just want as many ways to get multiple bodies to fuse with.
Is this the new best way to play heroes, by the way?
At the moment, maybe. It's the funnest. Yeah, when Supreme Darkness comes out, this does turn into a starter, so you're probably still going to keep playing 3. 2 Shadow Mist, just engine requirement, just so you can get a search off of Vion or get an extra body that's an elemental hero with a different attribute than light to fuse with. Blazeman, this is to get extra access to polymerization. It ups your copies a bunch because you got 3 hero lives and 3 e-call and a Rhoda, so it gives you more ways to get to polymerization. Liquid Soldier, a lot of people are cutting this, but just for the same reason that I want a different attribute other than light. And it's good to be able to cycle through your deck when you fuse with it. And even like later on, because there's some cards in the extra deck that I'm playing, being able to normal summon it to get a guy from graveyard is still good. I am playing the Wing Karibo. I didn't actually summon it at all. But it's good to have, like sometimes if you get shifted and you have like Stratos and polymerization, you can use the polymerization with Stratos getting Neos to fuse for the Flame Wingman, search favorite contact, so it gives you the Shining Neos pop. And then you contribute the Flame Wingman to get this, so you have 2 interrupts through Shifter.
Okay, pretty decent.
Because it's not really useful getting Miracle Fusion off of Sunrise in that case, because you have nothing in your graveyard anyway to use. So that's it for the E-Heroes. Destiny Heroes, pretty standard, 3 Mali, 1 Denier, 1 Plasma. So what you'll notice about this deck is that I'm not main decking Mass Change. So in the standard turn 1 play, I am always going for Plasma on my end board, just because it's the best floodgate the deck can produce right now. Like against a couple of the better decks, Mass Change into Dark Law doesn't really do anything. Like Tenpai, for example, Dark Law is pretty useless against that. You're better off just having the walking skill drain and having, like, through the main combo, like Stratos plus any hero, you have like a bunch of ways to protect it. You have DPE, you have favorite contact, Sunrise protects it from dying by battle, plus whatever non-engine I might draw. So it's really good, and it's really good to protect it. Vision Heroes, 2 Increase, 2 Vion, 3 Ferris.
So with 60 cards, how often did you see that increase though?
Once or twice. So the reason that I have kind of always played 2 is because if you play 1, your chance of drawing it is under 10%, I guess, but that does mean that you're sacrificing some number of those games because you draw it. So even if you play 2 and you draw 1, you could still discard it off Ferris. You can still fuse with it. Like, you could still even just normal summon it and link it away. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world, but drawing your only copy is much worse than drawing 1 copy and still having 1 in deck. So that's why I decided to play 2. And now the normal monster lineup. So I'm playing 1 Neos, 1 Clayman, 1 Sparkman, because we're playing the Primite cards. Just 3 Lordly Load, 1 Roar, and 1 Drill Beater. So the reason that we're playing these is because they give the deck a lot of counterplay to some of the floodgates that are going around right now. Like, for example, Shifter. If you have any level 4 monster, you can normal summon it, and then you can use this to special summon another level 4 from your deck, which often heroes could not do. And that's the reason why I'm playing these over Burstinatrix and Avion, even though they're better attributes, because this is a light, it conflicts with trying to fuse for the Flame Wingman, but these are level 4s. So you can search them, and you don't need to use any effects for the rest of the turn, because you just make Baguska and you pass under Shifter. And you don't get, like, Shifter doesn't prevent you from doing that. And if you happen to have another vanilla monster in hand, this can search you Drill Beam, which, if you don't know what it does, if you have a normal monster on the field or in your hand, because I don't play any of the Primite main deck monster, you can reveal them, or if you have a normal monster on the field, you don't need to reveal it, and you can negate any card and banish it.
Okay, we like that little negate.
Yeah, so it's really good, like game 2 or 3 sometimes, or even game 1, depending on what you're playing against, because like most people aren't going to know that you're playing this stuff. So you can have this in your hand as a way to beat like Impulse, because this can negate and banish Impulse. Game 2, you can use it to negate D-Barrier if you have the normal monster to access, so it's just a really cool option. And even going first, if you draw this, you can use it at the end of your combo to search Drill Beam and get a normal monster out, and then set the Drill Beam as a way to negate anything, like main deck Dark Rulers, main deck Evenly maybe, like, it's just a really cool option. And then you play one of this so that you have a way to get an extender. Most of the time you're going to summon Neos off this one, because you can search these two a different way. And this is even like a cool little interrupt in the graveyard to help layer your interruptions. If you don't know what it does, while it's in the graveyard, you can, if your opponent normal summons a monster, you can banish this to target a normal monster on your field or your graveyard, and banish a monster on the field with less attack than it. So Neos is really big at 2,500, and you can banish most normal summons. So like you banish Samsara Lotus, banish Pydra, like a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay,
so yeah, these were really cool. I always kept them in going first as a way to like beat Shifter. The same logic applies to like a Mulchummy. You can make a Baguska with minimal summons. Sometimes you have to give them 2 draws, and that kind of sucks, but it's better than giving them like 6 to put up a competent end board otherwise. But going second most of the time, it does get sided out, just because this stuff doesn't really help you break boards, and like the vanillas are obviously terrible draws. Like you have to keep Neos because it's an engine requirement, but this stuff all just comes out going second. Then for the rest of the engine, I played 3 Polymerization. So the reason that I did this is because of Impulse, and because this is a 60 card deck. But Impulse kind of changes the way that you have to play this deck, because before you'd be able to like use Polymerization and not have to worry about it being negated, and you'd get to chain multiple effects and all that. But if you only have 1 Polymerization and it gets negated by Impulse, you're pretty much passive. Like there's not a whole lot that you can do. So you want to increase the chance of having multiple in case of Impulse. So that's why I'm playing 3. Other engine stuff, the Hero Lives, 3 of them, 3 emergency calls, and this is just again to try and give you the most ways to see engine as possible. 1 Rhoda, 1 Foolish, 1 Miracle Fusion, and 3 Fusion Destiny. For non-engine, went with a board breaker approach. So with heroes, like, you can play hand traps, but the thing is that you need like 2 or 3 hand traps, if that's even good enough, to consistently be able to stop your opponents if you're going second. So I decided to go for a board breaker approach instead, because you need such high engine to be able to make your plays. So the only hand trap I played was 3 main deck Fluoros, and this is just for going second to try and draw into more cards. 3 Droplets, 1 main deck Dark Ruler to help search off of 2 Thrust. It was 3, but just because of space, which I know is hilarious in a 60 card deck. But anyway, I did cut the last one for space. It went into the side. Triple Talents. And the other cool piece of non-engine I played was 3 Spell Card Monster Reborn.
So tell us about this one. This is a cool card.
So the reason for this is because it fulfills a lot of roles. At its base, it can be an extender to be able to get a hero from graveyard, like say summon a Shadow Mist or something. But the other cool thing that it can do is it gives you counterplay against Mulcharmies. So let's say they go draw phase, discard Mulcharmy. I normal summon Stratos, get a search. I can use this to steal the Mulcharmy and then overlay into Baguska, only giving them 1 draw. This is also counterplay against Bestials. Instead of playing like Ghost Bell, which doesn't really do anything if I draw it going first and is not really a good main deck card, people usually will use Bestials, target Malicious in graveyard, and I could chain this, get the Malicious back, and keep comboing. The other cool thing that this can do is act as an interrupt during your opponent's turn. Something funny that I did against my Centurion opponent with this is they attributed Hieratic Seal to use its effect to bounce something, and I used this to steal the Hieratic Seal so that they didn't get the summon from deck. You got to be careful sometimes because you get locked into heroes, so you got to be careful what you're playing. But it does cool things. The other thing that it can do as well is, like, the way that I'm playing this deck, like, if I open the standard combo, because of how popular Impulse is and the decrease in nib, like, I'm just going ham every time. Like, I'm not playing around nib game one. But if they do happen to have it, like when I use the DPE pop effect and it goes to my graveyard, DPE will resolve after the nib is summoned, popping nib in the token. But then I can use this to get DPE back from my graveyard, and then when it goes to my opponent's turn, the DPE is live again. So yeah, very cool card that fulfills a lot of roles. I didn't really get to do a whole bunch of that stuff today, just because I didn't draw it that much versus the things I was talking about, other than the Hieratic Seal play. And then last stuff in main deck is Favorite Contact, just for the search. And then I played one Imperm to get off Thrust. So I wanted to have because this on its own is not a good enough Thrust search, because you have to be actually playing the game for this to be useful. So I just wanted this. So that's the main deck, 60 cards. Extra deck, for fusions, 1 DPE, 2 Wake Up. Because you're going through one of these in the combo, I did want a second one to use for grind game, for turn 2, for winning on the crackback. Neos Wingman, Flame Wingman, Sunrise, and then the other card that I played is Thunder Giant.
Okay, what's up with this?
Well, you use this to search Clayman and Sparkman off Infernal Devicer.
Okay.
So you can use this to be able to have 2 different attribute heroes to fuse, whether it's into Sunrise or the Infernal Rage, and then because you're using Vanilla's Infernal Rage, gets its bonus effect. It didn't come up today, but you can actually summon this either naturally or off of the Flame Wingman and destroy something with it. I mean, that probably is never going to come up ever, but just the options there. Lynx, Dread Decimator, 1 Wonder Driver. I did only play 1 because you can use the spell card Monster Reborn to bring it back under your EMZ, and it'll still, the following turn, you'll still be able to summon Hero Monster to it to bring back, to trigger its effect.
Makes sense.
2 Cross Crusader and Infernal Devicer. I did play Darkclaw because I am siding 1 copy of Mass Change, but again, we're never going for this game 1. And then played Baguska, and the last thing I decided to play was Dweller, just because this is much better going against Fire King Snake Eye. Same logic, the way that you use it, but it's much better against the Fire King deck. Even if you're under Droll, you can still summon the 2 level 4s because of the way that the Primite cards work. Side deck, 1 Call by the Grave, just for going first, 3 D Barrier, 3 Ash Blossom. So the reason that these were not main deck is because I'm not essentially viewing them as hand traps. Just drawing this on its own is not enough to stop most decks going second. But the reason that it's in the side at all is because you can use it to counter the Mulch armies. So I'll side it in a lot going first, just to be able to counter them, because you're going to expect to see them much more game 2 and 3. 1 copy of Mass Change. You side this in against anything that ending on Plasma is kind of subpar against graveyard decks. So that way, instead of going for the Plasma combo, you instead go for Darkclaw to end with. 3 Perulia, just again with the whole strategy of drawing as many cards as possible when you're going second, so that you can have a good combination of board breakers and hand traps. 2 other Dark Rulers to complement the one in the main deck. The 3rd Thrust, and a Feather Duster.
Nice, pretty standard, or I guess pretty, solid. Anything you would change? Did you miss anything, or would you change anything in your deck?
The extra deck, maybe, I don't know if I'd play Dweller again. I didn't actually get to summon it, so it's kind of a wasted slot. Other than that, I did really enjoy the deck. Yeah.
I mean, you did really well. Top 8ing in regionals is pretty nice. And with your favorite deck, of course.
Yep.
So congratulations on that, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.